All right. Good morning, friends. Welcome back to the channel. Jesse talks all things TDCJ and military. As always, I'm your host, Jesse. I want to give appreciative shout out to every single one of you. I got an email earlier in the week from YouTube inviting me to join the YouTube Partner Program. I did. That's the first step really in the channel starting to climb and really gain attention from there. Couldn't have done it without you guys. I can't do it without y'all and more of you. Let's keep getting this content out. Y'all keep helping me. I'll keep helping put the stuff out. Without further ado, let's talk about what we're here to discuss today. Before we do that, y'all know what's up. Hydrate. Today is an anniversary of sorts. Today is the 10-year anniversary that I did my first night shift at the Styles unit, working in the 11 building. Also, the first time I was exposed to gas while I was working at the unit. Now, I'd been pepper sprayed before. Had to get pepper sprayed to carry it in the Coast Guard. Been exposed to it a few other times when I wasn't in the military, and we're not going to go into that. So, I was thinking about it earlier in the week, and I said, I've already told this story, but I'm going to do a recap, retell it, because I know you guys would like to hear about it. So, here we go. I started the academy in April of 2013. Graduated it in late May. I think it was around 5 weeks, or just shy of 6 weeks. Had the weekend off, reported to the Styles unit, met Miss Lewis, the FTO. There were 5 of us breaking in on the OJT process. OJT can typically take between 2-3 weeks or so-ish. Unfortunately, right before I graduated the academy, my grandfather, Pawpaw, he passed away. So, first thing I had to do when I got to the unit was ask for some time off. Human Resources Office, as that place is, they were awesome. They took care of me, gave me a whole week and a half off. I said, a week and a half? Okay, I'll take it. Normally, funeral leave is like 3 days or so-ish. They really took care of me. I don't know why, but we're not going to go into that. So, right before I could start the OJT process, I'm on leave. Cool. Went through the funeral. Everything went good. We're going on into it. So, whenever I came back in for OJT, the ones that I graduated the academy with, they were just getting ready to get off of it. And I was starting with a new group of individuals that I had no idea who they were. One of them was a retired officer. I wish I could remember his name. He retired as a captain. He came back in as a CO5. He would eventually go on to make lieutenant pretty much immediately and take over the contraband interdiction team. I can picture his face. I can't remember his name. I don't know if he's still there. He had been there forever. The French fries that they would get on the arm, you get 1 hash mark for every 5 years. That guy's went all the way up to his elbow. I don't know if he was embellishing all the ones that he had on or if he was just trying to show off or fluff. Anyway, he seemed to kind of lead the crew, and I always enjoyed working with the guy. I hope he's still there. Around right at 2.5 weeks, you go through your OJT process. I've already done a video on it. Not going to go through the recap on that. Once you get close to the end of OJT, that's when you start going on shift. You report to the shift supervisor. You do 2 shifts in the daytime, 2 shifts at nighttime. 1 in Gen Pop, 1 in Seg, 1 at nighttime Gen Pop, 1 at nighttime Seg. This first nighttime one that I did, I was assigned to work with 11 building. And once again, I can remember the supervisor's face. I can't remember his name. He assigned me to work with Officers Truesdale, Officer King. Ms. Truesdale, Mr. King. Ms. Truesdale had previously worked at the Woodville unit, which was Supermax. It may still be, I'm not sure. She ended up leaving the Styles. Well, I say leaving. She ended up transferring from the Styles to go back to the Supermax at some point. Mr. King, I'm not sure exactly what happened with him. We were going to be assigned to work 11 building. I've talked about 11 building before. And my man Mitchell helped me remember what it was. It's the transient building as well as medical facility. It was directly across from where the infirmary was. When individuals went to the infirmary, if they weren't fit to go back to whatever cell block they were attached to, they'd go over to 11 building. 11 building was set up kind of like an H. You would walk in and it would go that way, that way. You'd stay straight, that way, and stairs. It was a 2-story building and long hallways. So think of it, I guess, like a H on its side, rotated, whatnot. I had an individual correct me about the triangle. I wasn't talking about the square rectangle triangle. I was talking about the 3 dimensions: height, length, width, that kind of thing. But thanks for the correction anyway. I didn't do very good in geometry in school. So we're working this building. Mr. King takes to the floor. I'm in the picket with Officer Truesdale, and she's showing me all the paperwork. First, she showed me the post orders. Post orders were there to tell you about how you were supposed to run the unit, what you were supposed to respond to, and how the facility was supposed to be ran, according to the SOP. And then she was showing me all the different kinds of paperwork. Use of force, medical requests, because they went out all the time in 11 building. While she's doing this, some of the SSIs brought in a rolling cart. This is July 1st, 2013, 10 years ago. Oh my God, it was so freaking hot. Even at nighttime, those buildings be over 100 degrees. The air would just be stagnant. So one of the things that they would do in 11 building and 8 building, they had closed custody inmates. They weren't able to leave their cells or go outside the buildings. I know times have changed, just is what it is. We pass out ice cold water to these guys. You would think that these inmates would be happy to receive this, appreciative to it. Nope. Couldn't give a shit less. If anything, we'd come off as an inconvenience to them. I'm sorry, I'm getting off topic. So I'm in the picket with Miss Truesdale. 2 of the SSIs push a rolling cart in, and there's this big, I guess it would be a 55-gallon plastic garbage can. You know those gray ones? I think they're called Brute, Rubbermaid, something like that. It's got the plastic lid with the 2 handles on the side of it. It's full of water and ice in it. Mr. Keene's job was to take this cart and push it down the tier and start passing out cold water. Inmates would come to their cells, they take their cup. They were only supposed to use a cup, but they put everything out there. Bowl, their hands, an old cereal container that they had from breakfast, pillowcase, which was the stupidest one I ever saw. I did pour it in one time and it soaked all the way through. We won't go into what happened after that there at one of those days. So Mr. Keene's passing out this cold water. And I'm just in the picket chilling. I'm like, all right, getting used to the night shift. Kind of sleepy, kind of bored. I was new to the facility. I was ready to get into it. I was ready to rock and roll. I already knew I wanted to be assigned to SEG. I was ready to start smashing. I was ready to start escorting the inmates around and doing what a brand new rookie CO does. Wanted to get those sergeant stripes on that sleeve, climb the ladder from there. So I'm glancing around, and you could hear Mr. Keene yelling out down the tiers, "Cold water!" He was doing that to get the inmates' attention so they could come to their cells, pass the cup out, he could pour it in, and go on down around it. Without pictures of 11 building, it's hard to paint a picture of how it was. When you walked down certain ones of the tiers, some of them would have the old school bars. The Shawshank Redemption, Green Mile, those old style kind of bars. Some of them would have the modern style door that slid to the right and to the left to close it, depending on which side of the building you were in. Others, they were set up really weird. If you're looking at a wall, there would be an opening, and you would have to walk around the wall. Now the wall's behind you. You're facing the bars, and then there's the inmate in that room. This was a special kind of a cell. I don't know what qualified the inmate to be in one of those, but that was the tier setup That was the style cells that Mr. Keene was down. 11 building had cameras that you could see in the picket. It being a medical holding area, transient, it needed to be monitored a little bit more. He yells out, "Cold water." Cool. I'm looking around. And as I'm looking, he was off. Sorry, can't see my finger. He was off that direction. I'm off looking this way. And I hear him yelling. It was pretty quiet. "Don't do it. Put it down. Put it down. Put it down." Doing the best to muffle my voice. That was a horrible thing. I promise you I'll never do that again. And I look, and we had lost sight of him. Miss Truesdale picks up the radio, and she starts initiating ICS, Incident Command Structure. She knew what was going on. She saw it before I did. I hear yelling, muffled yelling, and start to get this smell. And then my eyes start watering up. Oh no, bad. Pepper spray. He had to spray one of the inmates, and we were about to get the residual of it. One of the best lessons Sergeant Fisher taught us in the academy was the TDCJ survival tool. I'm going to show you guys that right now. Rookies, keep this with you. Vets, I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. That guy right there. Just a plain, simple old wash rag. Can be any color you want. Doesn't matter what it is. I'd keep it folded up like so. I kept it in my right back pocket. You can't carry a wallet in there. I mean, there's absolutely no reason to. Just bring in your ID, and I'd always bring that out. Every morning I'd have to take it out of my pocket, and I'd have to set it up on the thing, get run through the metal detector. Where this thing came in handy, just like that. You cover your face up anytime there was a gas attack, release of OC pepper spray, anything like that. Cover your face up. It acted as a breathing mask. Not to mention as hot as it got in them buildings. Whew. Man, you gotta have something to wipe that sweat away. Don't use an inmate's rag. I did it one time while I was shaking the cell down. Yeah, that was a mistake. That thing was nasty. Just lessons learned. Bring your own. So, what was going on? Inmate was threatening suicide. He had a metal object. I don't know what he had made it out of. Piece of a fence, part of the bunk. I'm not exactly sure. It was confiscated. He was starting to cut his wrist. Mr. Keene had ordered him to stop. He didn't. It kept getting worse. Mr. Keene couldn't roll the cell. Got to have supervisor there. Got to have, 2 COs anytime. So he gasses the guy. That's not an uncommon tactic in the field of law enforcement and corrections. You are authorized to use force to stop an individual from using force on themselves. Now, you can't use deadly force. Scenario. We're on scene. Police roll up. Guy has a pistol next to his head. Says, "Get away from me or I'm going to shoot and kill myself." Officer draws down. "Put the weapon down." Individual doesn't. Officer shoots and kills the guy. Yes, he prevented him from committing suicide, but now that officer has committed a homicide. You have to use a lesser level of force to prevent that. In this situation, Mr. Keene pepper sprayed the guy. He was so close to us, the residual effect, the blast back of it, the splash effect of it, man, that stuff goes everywhere. If you've never used pepper spray, go back into my archives. One of the first videos that I did talks all about OC pepper spray. Canister that it's in, how it's deployed. When you press the top button on it, it shoots out like a stream of water. Because it is water. It's partially water. It's 10% oleoresin capsaicin. That's a really big, expensive, drawn-out word for hot as fuck, nasty stuff. It comes out, when it hits you, it's a resin mixed with water. Oil and water don't mix. This stuff sticks to the skin. It's water reactive as well. What makes it hot is water. What are humans made of? Water. So as soon as it gets on you, it doesn't have to be the nose, anywhere. It starts burning, it starts itching. Once it gets in the eyes, your eyes are going to go shut. It's just bad. When you go through the academy, you get a taste of tear gas. CS designator. That stuff pales in comparison to pepper spray. Yes, tear gas is miserable. It's an irritant. It looks like white smoke, but it's particles of this nasty stuff. Once it gets on you, it sticks to you and it starts burning. Once you start breathing it in, it clogs up your nose, it gets in your mouth. You're breathing, but you're not breathing oxygen. You're breathing gas. It'll make you feel like you start to suffocate. It's going to pass. You're going to start coughing. Your snot, spit, tears, it's all going to come out. Sinuses are going to be the clearest that they've ever been after a tear gas exposure. Tear gas is typically used for crowd control and riot type situations. They use that on us in the academy to give us the exposure to it. Also, when I was in the Marines for 4 years, we had to go to that place once a year. Gas chamber. Woo! Good times. Good memories. You never really develop an immunity to it. In fact, I think it just gets worse every time you get exposed to it. Anyway, getting back on topic. Mr. Keene at OC pepper sprayed this guy to stop him from doing that. Miss Truesdale puts out over the radio, need to initiate ICS. Utility bosses started responding. The shift supervisor, lieutenant, and his assistant, the sergeant, responded as well. They knew gas had already been deployed, so they both come in. Sarge has got the rag up to his face like this. Freaking LT had tied a bandana around his face like a damn gangster coming in. They go down the hallway, breach the cell, restrain the inmate, get him out, take him over to the infirmary, goes from there. I'm just hanging out in the picket watching everything go down. I got my little rag over my face. Miss Truesdale, she was a champ. It didn't seem to bother her at all. She coughed a little bit at first, took a deep breath, and just went on about what she did. We're making the log entries, trying to write the times of everything down that happened. Inmates are just losing their minds. Problem with pepper spray, when you deploy it, it doesn't stay in its area. It goes everywhere. So unfortunately, every other inmate that was down on that tier, now they're all breathing in this nasty shit. They're beating, banging, hollering. It wasn't a boring night after that. We'd been inside the building for not even 20 minutes. Yeah, not even. We had just gotten started when he had to deploy that damn pepper spray. And yeah, after that, got the inmate out, everything. Couldn't serve the guys water anymore. Water was contaminated with the pepper spray. So from that point, we're just making rounds. I got out of the picket with Miss Truesdale, went to work with Mr. Keene. At this point, the inmates are all awake, they're tuned up, and they're ready to go. And what do they see? A brand new boot, fresh out of the academy ass rookie. Here it comes. Man, oh man, they just yelling, hollering, throwing shit against the wall, beating, banging, showing off. I'm like, dang, this was like all the damn time. It was a good awakening for me. A couple hours went by, they all tuned down, laid back in the rack. Cool. Made some rounds on the floor, checked out some of the paperwork, did a couple of counts, worked back in the picket, learned how to work the cameras, patted down some of the SSIs as they come in and out of the place. Learned a lot that night. Thought I was going to be assigned to that shift. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. After that day, I would never work with Miss Truesdale or Mr. Keene again. The next day, I did night shift segregation. I had already done my 2 day shifts. First one in 8 building, first one in day shift seg. Can't remember exactly what pod I was in. Probably C pod, Charlie. It was right after that I'd finish up OJT and I'd get assigned 1-1. Day shift, first shift, segregation. Boom, done. And the rest of it's all in the archives. Anyway, I just had a memory recap. 10 years ago anniversary, guys. 10 years can fly by. Doesn't seem like it at first, but it has. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Once again, thank you guys for helping me was able to achieve this milestone. I'm pretty excited about it. I don't know exactly what happens from here because the instructions are really weird, but we're all going to figure it out together. Guys, stay safe on this July 4th. Yes, this is July 4th weekend, even though July 4th is on Tuesday. Stay safe this weekend. Everyone take care of yourselves. Looking forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Carter's out.